Hello everyone, welcome back. Okay, so finally we've got the update. I'm sorry it took longer than it should have. I was aiming for like the fortnight as always, but ended up going into about a month due to a lot of changes and a lot of crap going on, but we won't go into that, it's boring stuff. We want to look at the update. So everything behind us is new. There's lots of new stuff. However, before we continue, I do want to say that AgriCraft was removed, mostly because all the bug reports I was getting was related to AgriCraft. It is in an alpha. I have put in a few bug reports on GitHub and had no responses, so I decided best bet would be to remove it and replace the farming mechanics with new stuff instead. And maybe we'll sort of look back to AgriCraft at a later date, maybe when it's in beta, and we'll give it a go then. But for now, it has been removed. So if you are planning on updating, I would recommend to probably pull off your crops, pull the seeds off any AgriCraft crop sticks and destroy them first, just to make sure you don't have, like, when you load up the world, it'll say there's missing stuff from mod and you might lose some of your vegetation and whatever. So just to play it safe, just get rid of AgriCraft stuff before you update, just to play it safe. I don't want anything bad to happen, but other than that the world should be compatible. So let's just go ahead and spin around here. Straight away you can notice there's fruit trees, apples, what's that? That's a pear. There's one just on the hill there, that's orange to the left hand side. See when the fog moves, just there, it looks like an orange. More pear. That looks like mango. Is that mango? Yeah, mango. Cool. Alright, so yeah, they're not the prettiest trees ever, but it's the rest of the stuff in the mod that I really wanted. But anyway, let's start with these little doodads. These will now spawn dotted around your world. So you've got branches, they'll spawn anywhere where there's trees, so forests is a good bet. You can actually see some dotted around there, look, including a stone. Stones, again, will spawn naturally, there's one over there. The small sandstones will spawn in deserts, but I've also seen them spawn on beaches, and then you've got the red ones that will spawn in like the canyons and such. And bones, I've not actually found any naturally spawning yet, so I reckon they may be in the caves, which I've not been in for a while. But what they do, if you've never used these before, fallen branches, obviously it'll give you sticks, might give you a couple. The bones, just drop bones and bone meal, and then the free stones here, they just drop. They're technically the same thing, so if I change a drop for one, it changes for all three. They're technically the same thing, which is a shame because I would have liked to have had like different stuff drop off each, but it's just not going to happen. But anyway, I've changed them. These are the defaults, but these have changed, so you should get flint, rock, pile of gravel, flaked flint, and maybe even an iron ore rock. The reason I did this is because at the moment the way Banished is the difficulty I found is really based on how lucky you are with your spawn. If you spawn in the spruce forest, chances are you've got gravel. You've got gravel beaches, so that's not too bad. But if you spawn somewhere in a forest, there's no gravel, it can be an absolute nightmare trying to get that first hatchet. So this is really to just try and alleviate that. If you get free stones as well, of course, you should then be able to make your fireplace. Campfire, sorry. So if you get 3 of them and you've got your flint, I did test this and ended up with sticks are easy to get anyway, you can get them off leaves. I ended up getting a few flaked flints, and of course you get your plant fibre straight off the grass anyway, so I was very easily able to get the hatchet, so that's not too bad. I think it does alleviate that quite well. Moving on, we've also got traps. It looks like somebody stood on there, yeah, somebody else stood on here because this was meant to be covered up. Okay, let's have a look. This is covering, which kind of obvious what it does. You walk on it, you fall through. Simple as that. So as this is the farming update, I wanted to concentrate on everything related to farming. So you've got the foraging, you've got trapping, you've got the actual physical farming, you've got animal husbandry, and then of course you've got actual farming mechanics, horticulture, etc, etc. So everything related to farming. But one of those things is trapping. So we've got glass shards. It's quite simple to make. It's your normal glass panes or your glass blocks. You smash them, it gives you shards, and then 3 of those, I believe, will come on. There we go. So glass shards, and it makes these that you can place down. But these I believe you get from just smashing glass, and then walking on them does damage. Spikes are the same thing. You walk on them, they deal damage, but these do a lot more. Bear traps, again, similar thing, except they pin you in place. I have noticed a couple of cattle actually get trapped in them but then manage to wriggle out. They're not supposed to, but they seem to be able to, so I'm not sure about that. Maybe, I don't know if it's the size of them, maybe a big cow's easier to get off than something small. And then of course there's grass coverings that you've just seen. On top of that you've got the fan, which does exactly what you'd expect it to. It pushes stuff. And next to that we have the magnetic chest, which sucks anything up that hits it. I've noticed it doesn't like to pick up from the bottom though. So you could use these with, for instance, a spawner, which I've set up just for fun. Ooh, come on, the wind's pushing me back. So I've got a spawner, skeleton, they get pushed off here, fall into the traps, get pushed along some more whilst taking damage, die when they get to the end, and then those fans push the items upwards. And hang on, let's just go times it game rule. Microphone's right in front of my keyboard, so I'm trying to be careful not to knock it. Do daylight, cycle force. There we go. The items get pushed on and they come up from the back here and get collected, as you can see. I can quickly demonstrate, I suppose. Why not? Should be fun. When I was spawning these from this egg, I noticed some of the skeletons were spawning on cows, of all things. That's crazy. That should do. You can see the items all zooming up, clocking up. Nice. Just a little proof of the demonstration that it works. Just making sure. I didn't want to keep something in if it didn't work very well, but actually it turned out to work really well. But how did you get out? Are you out? What? 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 Oh, you've had a chick though. You've had a chick, that's cool. But, you know, you're not supposed to be there. Stupid. Anyway, animal husbandry. Looks like they've already had a little chick there, that's cool. So one thing to note here, let me just put down some more seeds. I don't want them to die. Well, it doesn't look like you guys have been eating much. Are you gonna do the thing? Oh, you want to go back in then, do you? Now you know what's good for you. Well, tough. Okay. Oh. Okay, so that's them fed. So there's 5 different eggs currently available. They can no longer be thrown on the floor. That's to force you to use these new breeder mechanics. You've got to have the hen, you've got to have the rooster, nest, the settle, the whole lot. Peacocks and peafoals can now also be bred and hatch and nest and whatever in the latest update, so that's nice. The only egg that can still be thrown is the owl egg, simply because they can't be bred or hatched anyway. It's like an ender zoo thing. There you go, little owl. Cool. All of the eggs have been added to an ore dictionary, so they can all be turned into the raw egg, so they're all useful for cooking. Doesn't matter whether you've got normal chickens or the peacocks or owls or whatever, so that's useful as well. Moving on around, let's have a look in here. Alright, so a minor change here with the wheat. I noticed it was kind of messed up and backwards. Wheat was grinding straight into flour, yet ground wheat was kind of being missed out and only had one use anyway. So what I did was I changed it, so I put it in here, it's kind of spit out and get picked straight up into there. Useful. So grounding down wheat now makes ground wheat, which has its own recipes, of course. It can be turned into bread dough just like flour can, but it can also be turned into the round bread, or you can put the ground wheat back in and ground it down a little bit further, then creating the flour. Flour, of course, having its own uses as well, but more uses than your ground down flour anyway. So, quick change, quick fix. Corn kernels, they were named corn seeds, I've renamed them to corn kernels, it made more sense. They can be ground down into ground corn in there, and they can be cooked into cornbread as well, so that's quite useful. Probably the biggest and most important change here. Also noticed something here, you probably see all these plants jumping off, I'll explain that in a minute. But here we have bees, which will spawn on the underside of leaves, nowhere else. You can't put them anywhere, they don't spawn anywhere else, they have to be on the underside. So they're quite easy to spot, though they are very rare. So if you see one, good idea to grab it while you've got it. There is an alternative though. I've added this bee item can now actually drop from actual bees. Let me see if I can get a weapon. Diamond sword, chuck you down and stab. They now drop these bees as well, which usually drop from the hives. So that's a new mob drop. If you see a bee and you need one, that's one way of doing it. Might be easier to find the bee mob than it is to find the hives, you never know. But anyway, moving on to the apiary. Once you've got that bee item, they go in here. They will duplicate slowly, so I put one in here when I first started making this little place to demonstrate. So it was just one bee, nothing else, and slowly it's turned into 11 bees and 22 honeycomb. Honeycomb can be made into beeswax, which can then be made into, well, a broken candle it seems. I'll fix that in the next version. But anyway, their primary use, their more important use, is farming. If I just pull all of these up, and you can see that I'm just had a growth tick already, 43%, so with you, 29%. They grow extremely quickly, and the more bees you've got in there, the faster you'll get the ticks. So once they're at 99, you're pretty much, there you are, 71, it's got another growth tick. So they're just going to grow. Bees really help. The bees will also grow grass and flowers, which is why there's grass and flowers there. And it's also why I put the road around, because I got sick of double tall grass doing my editing. But what I noticed was just an interesting little, I don't know what the word would be. That one's fully grown already, look. It doesn't take long, and them, fully grown. It's crazy. Anyway, what I noticed was, not with these small flowers, but these 2 tall flowers, the bees are kind of force growing a third one on top, which of course doesn't happen. So then they're just dropping straight off. So, do you know, I'd probably be more efficient actually. Stop them falling in the water if I did that. Yeah, there you go. So what I did was that I just kind of put these magnetic chests down. So every time they popped off from the bees, they would get collected. So I've effectively made myself an automatic peony and rosebush farm as well, which wasn't intended. I had no idea. It was just something I noticed. Thought I'd let you guys know. It's kind of cool. If you need large quantities of dye, it's worth doing. Moving on, these are strictly decorative. These actually replace the flower pot. I may add a recipe to put the original flower pot back in, the vanilla, because that's actually it. Not joking, look. No, not you. Let's have a look. They actually, let me just get what I need first. It's hard to explain otherwise. So as you can see, these colour in all kinds of different colours. So you've got vanilla and the new one, but these replace those. So if I click here for a recipe, the recipe's still there, but it's a recipe conflict now, which I'm gonna, it gets replaced here, and apparently that's deliberate. I looked through the mods thing, and apparently that is deliberate. So I'm actually going to change the recipe for that, so they're both still available. But the reason for that is if I move them over here, you'll notice that anything you put in them turns 3D. These are vanilla flowers, but they've turned 3D when placed in here. So these are kind of more decorative. They can be coloured, anything put in them turns 3D. However, with this texture pack, plants put in here are also quite special as well. I'm not going to be able to pull the flowers off here, am I? No. So these won't be able to go into a normal flower pot. Hang on, I'll demonstrate. So it's nothing special if I just take a normal flower. If I put that one in there, normal, put it in there, turns 3D. But what I like about these vanilla ones, and the reason I want to make sure I add them back in, I didn't mean to destroy that, is because of what they do when you place a sapling inside. If I go ahead and grab any sapling, in fact, let's just grab one of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If I just go and chuck these down, you'll see why I like this texture pack, or the resource pack. I think that's one more than I need, but if you put these in, they turn into these big planters, and I like it. They're just so nice. So that's why I want the vanilla ones to be added back in. So I will do that for the next release. I'll make sure that the recipes don't conflict anymore and it doesn't replace them. But that's what they are anyway. They turn anything you put in there 3D. Did I put a sapling in? Is that a sapling? I don't know. Did I put a sapling in these? Do they look any good? Let's have a look. Yeah, see? It's just not as effective. Just not as awesome as that. I mean, they look great. Exhibit A. They look great. So I'm definitely going to add them back in. As we've already discovered, we've got fruit trees, but we've also got prickly pear plants and pineapple plants. They don't have many uses right now. They can be eaten as they are, just normal fruit. They're not really that satiating or filling. As you can see, they're quite bland, but you know, they're easily available. Good for if you're about to die, but obviously if you're going to eat, I mean, if you're going to pull like tons of pear off that tree and that's all you've got, you're not going to get very far. You're going to need more food, so they're not too bad. You've also got these grapes on the pagoda. These are actually really nice. I quite like these. And then you just stick the grapevines on them. Helps if I could click straight, mind you. But yeah, that's actually what this is. Just painted it. You trying to get back in there now? Oh, I don't even know, whatever. But to make these fruits have a bit more usage, what I did was I took the apple juice, renamed it to fruit juice, and then just changed the recipe to accept a new or dictionary there. You can see it says accepts any fruit juicy. Basically, I made a new or dictionary and put any fruit in there that would give off some kind of fruit, juice. So you got orange juice, pear juice, peach juice, lemon, mango, etc. So not every fruit is in there, but the majority are the ones that are juicy anyway. And that will give you a fruit juice. So you can actually get drinks off the fruit now as well. It's quite useful if you don't live near water or you don't want to be filtering water all the time. Finally, moving on to the very last thing, that would be these Better with Mods planters, which is very useful. At the moment, bone meal works. I was meant to disable it, but I forgot. I didn't want bone meal to just instantly grow stuff. I wanted, at the beginning, I wanted to have to wait or work around it. So just be aware of that. I will be disabling bone meal in the next update. But the alternative to get around that was these plant pots. So I don't know what the water and the gravel and the red sand ones do. I can't seem to find anything that goes on them, apart from a dead bush, but that's pointless. And a lily pad will sit on there, and that's pointless. So I don't know why. I have no idea. But ones we care about are the neverwort one, the soul sand, which you can grow neverwort on, as you can see. The grass one, well, you can place your own plants on there if you want to use it as decoration, but on top of that, if you leave it blank, it has a chance of growing a dandelion like this one has, the rose, or just a bit of grass, so that's useful. You then got one with just dirt, which is your normal farm, and then you got one that I've put bone meal into, which creates a fertile one, which as you can see is already mature, versus 29, so clearly that's much better. That's why I wanted to remove bone meal, because bone meal is instead placed directly onto that, which turns it into this fertile one. And then alongside your bees, them combined, that's when you sorted, you're gonna have more food than you ever need. And of course you've got a sand one, which you can place cactus on, which as you can see does grow, doesn't need water or anything like that. It is slow growing because, you know, obviously they're meant to be in a different climate, but these planters do help. These planters will also help you farm in the Nether as well. So if you want to have a base in the Nether and you want food there, these do the job. Just be aware, you will need clay to make them, and you will also need Better with Mods turntable setup. So you will need some axle power, a windmill or water mill, and then your turntable to get them, but they're very good to get. So just to demonstrate, because these have in-world recipes, you just make these and place whatever you want in them. So of course you got your dirt, and then if you want fertile, you just add bone meal, and there you go. Simple as that. But that, guys, I believe is all we really have time for, which is fine because I believe there's nothing else to cover. Obviously there's lots of other little niggly details in the changelog, but I'll just leave that to you to read through. This is the most interesting and important bits. So, yeah, I believe we're done. In that case, thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care. And why do I always forget my button? Is it that one? My bad, I'm pressing shift, not control. Bye, guys.